Hi, it's Jess here from Nigezza Creates. So I'm back here with my slow stitch journal. Um, yeah, I just seen some loads of wonderful examples over on Junk Journaling for Everyone. So I thought, oh, I best get started. And then I suddenly thought, I need needles. So I've just spent, oh, quite a while finding needles. So I've got these ones. These are from a bookbinding kit. These ones I found in a drawer where I keep sewing things for my machine. These I bought way back, right at the start when I first made a journal, and I thought all these thick ones would be good for binding a journal. They're actually too thick. They're probably too thick for what I want to do now. Nice little container. Thought that would mean I wouldn't lose it. Yeah, it took me ages to find that. And I got pins, and I've got a very small needle in this one, I think, as well, which is going to be too small. Do you know, I struggle to open it. It's going to be too small. I need to open it because it's got my pins in. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to thread there. Got it. You're not going to be able to thread the needle in here, I don't think, even with the needle threader. So I've got a needle threader. I've got my lovely pins. Oh, I don't seem to have a needle in there. So, well, I don't think I need it anyway. I'm probably going to use one of the ones in there. I found a thimble, thought might be useful. And in my bookbinding kit, I had this one as well, which I think might be easier to use than a full-on thimble. We'll see. So that's my stuff gathered for sewing. And let me tell you what I've been doing. So the pages, I pressed them. I actually trimmed them down as well. So I got out a ruler and a knife, and I've cut them all to be straight and the same size. And then I ironed them so I could see the centre. I watched Suzanne from Non-Stop Paper Crafting this morning, and she's got hers ready, and she says she's going to put them in like this, which I thought was actually a really good idea, so that these are like a single signature each. They've got 4 pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So I'll do that, and then that way I could choose to not use this one if it got too thick or I decided I'd had enough, whichever comes first. I did what somebody, Lucy, who often comments, said I'd use fewer signatures because I'm lazy, and I just thought, yeah, maybe I will. So I'm thinking that fits a little bit better, and that gives me a little bit of scope for maybe putting some lace around the edging, which was what I was thinking. So I am thinking I'm going to do this now today, and then another day I might do those two matching, and then we've got those two are going to sort of match, those two will match, and those two, and those two, and then we'll either have that as the end, or we'll do another signature. I'm still not sure if I'm going to take this top bit off. Haven't decided. It'd be hard to unpick, I think, so I would have to slightly, because it's sewn into this bit over here, so it'd be hard. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm thinking we've got seams there, so I'm thinking there'll be the second page, and if I consistently do that throughout, then that'll be fine. I thought it'd be nice to do a pink first page so that it matches the inside of this. Thought that would be nice, and I'll probably do similar on the back. Who knows what's going to happen at the back. I like this. I love this. I've got this ribbon as well. I've probably got other ribbon that's fairly the same colour, but those are what I picked out straight away. And I've got these pinks which I think were the closest pinks to what I'm using. So the other thing I did, which I thought would be useful, so I'm thinking about that and I'm thinking, oh, where would that fit on there? So I got this really thick bit of plastic, it was in packaging, and I've cut it to the same size as my page so that I can kind of look and see what it might look like in a page. That's a bit glary, isn't it? There's that bit there. Okay, so that was my thoughts. So that could be sort of towards the top of the page, and then this lovely lace could maybe go along the bottom, and then maybe a bit of ribbon, something along those lines. I was thinking, quite like the idea of a little bit of a frame as well. This ribbon's quite thick. I would prefer a thinner ribbon, but I'll look for that in a bit. So this is what I'm thinking that I want to cut to go on here. So I don't want to lose this lovely bit of lace here, so I'm going to trim that off before we start, and then I've got that for something if I need it, because I don't want to just cut round there. I want to keep this as it is. Cut it close to the edge. There we go. I'll put that to one side. So now I am ready here with this. I want a little bit of a border around, because if I'm going to sew it down, I'm just wondering if I'm going to hem round it. I'm going to give it a bit of a border, because I'm not 100% certain about what I'm doing yet. There we go. Put that down there. So we've got this. So I could sort of hem round it so it looks a little bit neater. Or I could zigzag around the edges. That might look nice. So we've got that. Got a bit of ribbon. We've got a bit of this lacy stuff. Now this is quite big, but I just want a little bit of it. So yeah, so we could go to there. That was what I was looking for, if there was a natural place where we could cut it. May well unravel a bit. It's okay. I'll go all the way up there. So we've got that bit. I don't need these flowers, so I'm going to cut across there. They could maybe be used for something else. So we've got that to potentially sew down on there. That's looking pretty. That's looking pretty. Now I'm going to look for another bit of ribbon. There we go. So I've got these. Lots of different pinks. So that's sort of glitzy on that side. So we do it that side. That sort of works. Yeah. I think that works. Yeah. So I think that's what we're looking at. If we look at the colour of this, yeah, those are the colours we want, Jez. Most deaf. I think I might sew everything onto this bit and then sew this bit onto this bit. And then I might do some, I don't know, I was almost going to say some fancy stitches. That's really never going to happen from me. So I think I need to hem round this. I'm wondering about making my life really, really difficult. I'm doing that. So it's like a seam binding around it. That might work. And I'm wondering if I should iron this. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to iron this and then iron in the creases so it's the right size. I might make it ever so slightly smaller, and then I might iron this in half. Right, so that was a quick iron there, and I cut the ribbon down to about what size I needed, and I've just ironed that in half. So I'm going to trim this a bit because it's a bit big, and there's a bit of me that's thinking actually I might just zigzag round the edge and then add that to the edge, and then I've got no bulk. I think that would be better. So let's check how that's looking. There, that's cool. Now I had an idea, is to machine attach this to the back, so then I hand sew it on, and you don't see machine stitches on the front, you just see hand sewing stitches. So I'm thinking I'm going to pin it, and then we'll sort the corner out separately. Sorry if you can't see what I'm doing. Right, so I've just pinned that and I've got the corner there. So what we want to do is kind of do a sort of a diagonal. That's what we want. So it's like mitered, like that. That is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think so. I think that would work. So I am thinking I'm going to do a little stitch in that to keep it in place. There we go. Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. So I will continue with this tacking. Right, so the corners all done. So we're gonna have to overlap at the bottom here, and I might, so as I sew things on to decorate, I might be able to sew a random flower like that over the join. Fabulous. Right, so I will take this to my sewing machine and sew round it. So that's all securely in. You can see my zigzag. I zigzagged so that this cotton wouldn't fray. So that's got to go on there. Let's get some pins out. So that's the edges sorted, yeah, and then we need to do our corners. Where's me thread? So I'm going to use that. That's quite a... So now I'm sitting there thinking, if I can't have a matching bit of cotton embroidery thread, then why don't we just go for a complete contrast? I really don't know what I'm doing now. This is where it's like, help mum, no idea what I'm doing. No idea. I am totally winging it now. Right. Because really I need two. I might just do 2 rows of running stitch. Okay, so I have speeded this up to 4 times what I'm actually doing, and I can assure you that my running stitch is more of a slow crawl, and yeah, that's a long time since I've done any hand sewing, or slow stitching as it's become known as. Some people might have really neat stitches and they're all the same size, not me. So yeah, I decided I went up the edge and then I went down the diagonal where the corner of the ribbon is like mitered, and then came back along the bottom. That seemed to work for me, and yeah, the result wasn't too bad, and I don't think I pricked my finger once in this section. Yeah, this section I did manage to... I didn't draw any blood though, so that's pretty good, and I did end up wearing my thimble at different times. So yeah, I did actually spend probably in total about 3 hours to do this whole process. So obviously I've got to speed bits up, otherwise yeah, this would be a ridiculously long video. So that's why I chose to do it this way, but I think you can still sort of kind of see what I'm doing. It's just an in and out really stitch there to hold that ribbon in place, and it's certainly making me feel like, I don't know, I'm back at Brownies doing a bit of sewing, and it's about Brownies you know, sort of skill level really what I'm doing, but yeah, hopefully make you all realise that you can have a go, and it doesn't matter what it looks like, and how good you are at stitching. Anybody can do it really. We can all push a needle in and out of a bit of cloth, I'm sure, and I've got rheumatoid arthritis and I'm managing it, so yeah, I did have to do a rest though. My hands did hurt after a while. Yeah, certainly this is something I do in with lots of rest in between. The first bit done there, so I'm going to continue in the same way doing the rest of it, but I'm not going to film that. There we are, so that's all done. Took me quite a while. Yeah, I can see why I don't do this sort of thing very often. So I'm just looking at this. I realise that when it comes to sewing these down, probably I'm going to end up sewing over the top of this. I should have made it slightly smaller, but you know, hey ho, and all that. So that's going to go on there. So it will cover that. I don't think it matters that is going to go down a bit. So I think there's room for that to be slightly down. So yeah, quite happy with that being there. That's where the signature is going to get sewn in, so that needs to be on the edge there, or I might put it on the edge of the ribbon, in which case I might cut a bit off this side. So I might cut this flower out, and that can get sewn in there like so. And I was trying to think how I was gonna sew that down. I could do just some little, if I could remember how to do French knots, they might be quite nice to catch it in, but I honestly can't remember. Should have looked them up. I'm going to wing it. I am going to wing it. Right, I'm going to pin. I think that'll be alright on the edge there. Right. I'm going to come up here. And do a tiny little stitch. I'm going to go back down. And then I'm going to come back up before I pull that. I'm going to put it like that. Do another one. This may or may not be any particular stitch, but you know what? It'll do. It will absolutely do for me. And I'm going to go back down. So it's a dot, and that will do for me. And then I might do another one up there. So I am literally making up as I go along. I did think, oh, watch a video on some stitches, and it's like I can't retain the information, so there's no point. I've watched a few and then I can't remember. So this will do. So take that out now. So that's sort of like held in place in 3 places. That should go back down again now. That's that bit. I might do one up there and one, got a cluster of 3. And then I might just wondering about making a loop. a deliberate loop. That'd be pretty. Right, I'm going to sign this off because there's not much of it left. And then I've got this thread here. So I might sew with this because it's got a bit of a vintage look about it as well. I'm going to do this single threaded because I just want it to not really be seen particularly. So I'm going to just do the odd little stitch. To hold these in. So I'm just kind of looking where the threads are. Just holding it in. Don't think it needs many stitches because it's not like it's a piece of clothing. It's just going to get sewn in a book, and it's not going to be particularly manhandled. I can sew in the middle of these flowers as well. So I'm just going where there's that sort of light brown off-white sort of colour. So some of it's on the leaves, some of it's in the centre of the flowers. I'm just carefully doing a very tiny stitch so it looks like it's mingled in with the embroidery that's already there, and that should then firmly hold that down in place. I mean, it's not like this is going to go through the wash or be manhandled, so yeah, just a few stitches here and there should be enough, I hope, to catch it in. I'm no expert, it is what it is. So that is what I'm doing here. So now I'm just sorting out adding the ribbon. So getting it out, thinking I might put a loop on each side, just to be something different. So need to pin them in place. So I go to all the trouble of pinning it across, and don't do it very straight. And then I kind of work out that netting that's on the lace panel wasn't. I wanted to make sure that got caught in under the ribbon, and I realised that it's really not. So after having a look at it and sort of pinning it across, I then took it all out and realised I really need to catch in that netting first. But you'll see me doing a little bit of fiddling first. before I come to that conclusion, and so I am trying to make it look straight. It's quite difficult really, because not many other things are straight. There's a bit down there on the Emma I've caught round the edge, so I've got to sort that out at some future date. So looking there, it's about as straight as something not very straight. So there I am threading. That's just ordinary white thread, and that's when I'm deciding that I'm going to sew in the netting. So I'm going across there, just a few stitches, doesn't need much, just want to make sure that it's held in place, because remember this is gonna all get sort of sewn. The two layers there are going to get sewn together, so not too bothered, but I didn't want it sort of coming apart in any way. So just finish that off and then try and get that ribbon straight. So now back to the ribbon. Don't need to worry too much now about the netting. So there we go, pin it in the middle first. Thought that was a good place to start. And then pin the ends, and then we should be good to go. And then just gonna use some of that white embroidery thread again. Here we are, checking it now out with a ruler. Could have done that in the first place. And I think, you know, just to carry on that continuity of using that sort of slow crawl stitch as opposed to a running stitch around the ribbon. So just threading up my needle and getting started with that, really. Much the same way as I've done before. So there I've decided that I will just address that corner bit there, so I've snipped it off, and then I've got to do a couple of stitches to make sure that it doesn't all unravel. So that's that bit done, and I did think I would just do a few little, I'm going to call them jazz knots, because I don't think they're quite French knots in there. So take that off. I'll do this pink. Yeah, I'm going to halve that. Oops. Because I've been told that's something to do. And it was something we did. So we did this at the Rach and Bella craft retreat in the summer. And we split our threads. So that's what I'm doing. So where's me? There it is. So I just think a couple of jazz knots and that'll be this bit finished. And then I've got some serious editing to do because it's far too long. So I think we'll do, yeah, one about there. My problem I had there was I'd only knotted 2 and there's 3. Right, they're all caught in now. I might look at some videos before the next time and see if I can learn a few stitches. Don't hold your breath, everyone. Yeah, that'll do. On there. Where shall I go now? Go down there. Just thinking about my running stitches. They're more a crawl stitch really, aren't they? There's no running happening here. Crawl stitch and a jazz knot. That's mostly what we've been doing. With a wing and a botch. That's how we're going to get through this project. Go down there. I think I might do 5 of these. We do things in 3s. I've done 3 there. I mean, that could be the 3, but I want to go up there, so I might go down there and up there. Kind of miss going down there, don't I? I think we'll be alright. So that is me done. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So that we have it. So let's have a little look. It was in the cover. That would look very pretty as a first page, I think. So there we go. That's the cheeks way of doing it. Few little stitches that I've done, but obviously all this embroidery was already done for me. There's no way I'd be able to replicate that in a million years. So there we go. I did forget that I was going to sew buttons, so I've just sewn the buttons on there, and there we are now finished. So hope that has given you some reassurance that joining in this Stitch in Time challenge it is for any skill level. I have zero skills. So there we go. So I am now editing the I think it was 2.5 hours worth of video footage. I've got it down to about 1 hour and 5 now. I'm trying to cut a little bit more out, but still, you know, maintaining it enough so that you can see what I'm doing. All right, hope you like that. Do pop over to Junk Journaling for Everyone and see what everybody else is doing. There's a real mixed skill level mixture in the group, and lots of us are, you know, just winging it, as you can tell from this, but nevertheless still producing something. I think that's quite nice, really. All right then, thanks for joining me. Bye.